The stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared on the swan.
Hi there. Welcome back. I'm Lee Sharon, and this is the Powerless Kitchen here at Old Tavern Farm. I just came in from doing my barn chores, and it is snowing out and it is cold, and we don't have any power again. We lost our power, let's see, probably 2 or 3 times in the last 10 days, which is crazy. But around here, as you can see, we live kind of a slow life. And this is the last Monday before Christmas. So there's plenty of snow out there for Santa to be flying his reindeer. And when I was a child, my mom and dad would put out carrots for Santa's reindeer. And in my house, I like to put out reindeer kibble. These wonderful little cookies that the reindeer just love. And they're not just exactly cookies, they're actually candy. So making these cookies, we cook our sugar to a certain temperature. We don't even need a thermometer. All you need is a pan and 4 ingredients, I think it is. So I'm going to take you along and show you how to make your own reindeer kibble to put out for Santa's reindeer, and also to put in your tummy. You can add, someday I want to add almonds and coconut to these cookies to kind of make my own version of an almond joy, which is actually my favorite candy bar. If I ever eat candy bars, commercial candy bars, that is one of my very favorites. So I want to take you along and show you how you can make your own candy / cookies, even when you don't have power, on this very handy thing that all of you homesteaders should have, and I'm sure you do, is a wood operated, not pellets, not anything else, plain old wood logs, a wood operated wood stove, and you can pretty much bump right along without any power at all. So let me gather my ingredients, and I'm going to take you over to the wood stove and show you how to make your own. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do when I set my pan on my wood stove is I'm going to check my temperature gauge, which is right here. Okay, so it is about 400 degrees, which is fine for this particular type of confection. And I'm going to give you a couple tips before I get started. The first tip is add your liquid ingredients first. So I'm going to put a cup of milk and 2 sticks of butter in here and let them melt. And then as soon as they're melted, I'm going to add my sugar. That keeps the sugar from burning. If you add the sugar first, it can burn on the bottom of the pan that you're using before the butter and milk have a chance to melt together. So the butter has melted in with the milk, and I'm just going to give it a little stir. Now at this point, you only want the butter to melt into the milk. You don't want this to boil or do anything like that. You just want them to be melted together, and as soon as you see that the butter is pretty much melted through completely, you're going to add your sugar. All right, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my sugar. So this is 4.5 cups of white sugar. Now you could use sugar alternatives if you would like to try that. I have never tried this recipe with anything other than bog standard white granulated sugar. So since we're making candy here, technically, you would really need to just experiment and see what works for you. But I'm going to stick with what I know works. And so at this point, I'm going to grab my spatula and we're going to start to stir it up. So we are going to stir the sugar into the butter and milk mixture. And at all times I'm keeping an eye on my temperature gauge over here. We're a little bit higher than 400, creeping up onto 500. So if it gets too hot, this is my damper right here. I'm just going to push this closed a little bit to reduce the amount of oxygen that is flowing through this vent and this damper. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to continue stirring, and I'll bring you back when we get to the point we're going to cook this, continue to cook this until it comes to a boil, and then we're going to continuously stir it for 1 minute. Now, if we were making candy in some sort of highfalutin candy factory, we would have all kinds of digital temperature gauges and all that stuff. And I used to have a candy thermometer, and one year I dropped it into the gas fire at work and it melted. So I haven't had one since. So I basically just count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000 until a minute has passed, or you could set a timer on your phone or have an old-fashioned sand egg timer, whatever works for you. But we want to boil this mixture once the sugar melts here. We want to boil this mixture, stirring continuously until we reach 1 minute of boil cook time. And that basically approximates what we would call in the candy biz like a soft ball stage. Soft ball is like the chewy sugar stage, and hard ball is the like hard candy, sort of peanut brittle stage where your candy is going to crack. But we don't want it to crack, we want it to be soft. Okay, so I'll bring you back when we get to that stage. Okay, so at this stage we are at this can't stir it down stage, and I'm going to give you guys a little disclaimer really quick that you just got to hear. Do not have your kids around when you're doing this, whether you're doing it on the wood stove or the electric stove or the gas stove or anything. This is candy, and it is cooking sugar, and it is dangerous. It will produce a 3rd-degree burn, and it's very, very, very dangerous to mess around. You got to be everything on board. All right, so while I was talking, giving that disclaimer, I probably spent about 20 seconds doing that, and I'm going to continue to count from there. 21, 22, 58, 59, 60. At this point, I'm going to take this off of the fire and set it on a heat-resistant mat or a heat-resistant surface to continue the process. Easy for me to say. Okay, so I have some straw mats down here. You always want to prep your area before you land your hot pan. You can see this is still boiling. So we want to just kind of give it a second, let it kind of calm down a little bit. One thing that you need to know, do not add any liquid in here at this stage. We're going to add vanilla here in just a minute. The vanilla goes in last, okay? So not only will the cold liquid interact with the boiling sugar and cause a flame up, you'll also lose the flavor from this because the alcohol will cook off and you won't get as much good vanilla flavor. First thing we add to this boiling mixture is our quick cooking oats. That's 6.5 cups of quick cooking oats. Then I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. And you can't really walk away from this. You have to finish this process. Okay. All right, at this stage I'm going to add my vanilla. The recipe for this will be in the description box. I'm not going to stop to tell you measurements because I'm focusing on getting my mixture incorporated. It's going to take you a few minutes to work this together, but it's worth it. Okay, so once everything is incorporated, you're going to have sort of a medium brown color, and it's going to look like that. It's going to be sort of a medium brown color. Then I'm going to take a sheet pan that I have lined with parchment, and then I just basically, this is a 1 ounce scoop. I just scoop it up, I drop it on my sheet pan, and kind of give it a little squish to make a little indentation in the top, sort of like a little kibble, like dog kibble, kind of. And drop it on my parchment, and then I simply just leave it at room temperature for a couple of hours is the way to go with it, I've found. Candy takes a little while to sort of cool down and then release from the paper. If you try to release it from the paper by tugging on it, you're gonna get some sort of sticky bits until it actually cures. It does have to have sort of a curing period where it is coming to the temperature it needs to be candy, basically. So I encourage you guys to go out there and try making your own Cowboy Christmas cookies on your wood stove if you have one. And if you don't have one, try it on your own stove. But just be sure to be mindful and pay attention to what you're doing, because anytime you're cooking sugar, as I said, it is a hazard, but it can certainly be fun if you are careful and you police your hot sugar, so to speak. All right, well, I want to thank you guys so much for visiting. This is probably going to be one of my last full-length videos before Christmas. I'm going to kind of focus on Christmas and the family and all stuff that goes around with that, and I want to just attend to that. And so I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you so much for coming along this journey with me. And I will see you between Christmas and New Year's, I hope. I think and I hope. So, anyway, Merry Christmas. Thanks for everything. See you next time. Bye.